All right, what is going on, Banter fam? Welcome into Monday's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we are going to dive deep into the crypto gaming markets today and also cover some economy changes in one of the bigger crypto games of the start of 2022, which is Pegaxy. They've changed quite a bit, or they're proposing quite a bit of changes, which I think are definitely worth looking into. They've already mentioned that some might be revoked, some are being highly criticized, and some are very good for actually being able to pull back a lot of the VIS being minted into the economy, which could be very healthy long term for the game. So we'll dive into all of that and more. And some big news in this space regarding a Fortune 100 company and one of the biggest football clubs, soccer clubs across the entire world in the EPL getting involved in the metaverse. So without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't a cent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, and let's get into it. And I want to just kind of take a look because a couple of gaming projects are out there actually bucking the trend still in the market. And even with, even with Bitcoin going quite a bit down, as we know, we're about, I think, 38 or 37, somewhere around there. Let me check real quick that way. Full accuracy, 37.7 is where we're at on Bitcoin. But when you take a look at projects like Ultra, which I preach all the time, has just such solid utility, they're actually up 20% still for the week. So they really haven't been affected by the Bitcoin bounce. And later in the show, I'm actually going to circle back around to Ultra on a couple of topics that I actually haven't really touched base on in the past, including what is on the backbone of their project in their app, which is actually their own carbon neutral solution. And we'll get into that. So we'll talk about that later in the show. But let's start off the show with going ahead and taking a look at a huge partnership that was announced just this morning, which was Sony and Manchester City to create the world's first football stadium in the metaverse. And Sony and Man City, huge. I mean, obviously the tech brand that Sony is, and obviously the football club that Manchester City is. I believe the betting odds have Manchester City as the favorites this year in the Champions League, for example. And when you take a look at their valuations, each, we have a $4 billion football club in Manchester City. And then we have a Fortune 100, so the 88th ranked company on Fortune, pairing up here to bring a football stadium, a soccer stadium, a huge conglomerate, you want to be there type of place, right? A spectacle in the metaverse, right? I think is the best word to put it. A spectacle in the metaverse to go spend your time. And maybe they build in eventually watching games in the metaverse in a stadium, right? I think that'd be super cool. So, right, you can't be at the game. You're in America and you're a soccer fan on EPL Saturdays and Sunday mornings whenever like games are live at, 7, 9, and 11 a.m., so to speak, here in the States. I know that's how it is. But then also anywhere in the world, right? You could tune in potentially in the metaverse, in VR with a headset or just on the computer, however you want to enjoy your experience. And you can actually go spend your time potentially at these stadiums, maybe get a ticket, right? Let's say you have to get a virtual ticket, which is like an NFT. It's like a certificate of games that you've went to. It's just kind of, I know when I was a kid, I would collect tickets to fun games that I went to, my first games and stuff like that, concerts and stuff like that. So whenever you make that an NFT, it's an experience. You can actually go to the game in the metaverse. I think that's an experience that Sony, the creators, they don't just do TVs, DVD players. These are the guys that cultivated the PlayStation 5 right now, right? So this goes way beyond, just a random company pairing up with a random football club. Manchester City is one of the biggest in the world. And also on top of that, You have Sony's capability on video game and console development, which is absolutely vital, in my opinion, which can bring this experience to life a lot quicker than I think, so to speak, some of these other companies might, right? When you look at Meta, Facebook, they're actually kind of, they tried to hit the ground running. They made huge investments, and they're kind of having some roadblocks along the way right now. And I actually think Sony is a little better fit potentially to build something quicker of quality potentially in the metaverse with their video game capability. So that's huge news. And I think just to keep an eye on it in the future is other tech companies with the capabilities of Sony in gaming to continue to get involved with big partnerships, just like Man City and Sony. And FTX launching a gaming unit is equally big news. So we have Sam Bankman-Fried basically coming in and bringing FTX a gaming unit to boost crypto and NFT adoption by game publishers. And that is massive because we all know SBF has huge influence in the space, right? He can basically, SBF could get a meeting with most people that he wanted a meeting with in the crypto space for sure. But I think his status goes well beyond that with, his billionaire status at this point. And I think that when you take a look at the space, he's just continuing to make some partnerships with FTX and some partnerships with like the Solana blockchain and a couple other projects where SBF is just continuing to push the narrative forward. And it's exciting to see him getting behind gaming and getting behind NFTs because he has a huge influence in the space, as I just stated. So very good. And bringing more publishers to the NFT space is vital. I've presented in the past Tom Henderson. He works for a gaming news company in the space for first-person shooters for like Call of Duty, Battlefield, stuff like that. He announced that in about 2023, 2024, that there will be a AAA shooter built by some of the guys legitimately from the Call of Duty development team, from Battlefield, stuff like that, Gears of War. So there are big studio and game publishers getting involved in the background here, and we've seen these popping up through the woodworks of rumors and then being confirmed that they are being worked on too. So very good to see. And if more game publishers come into the space, that's going to just drive more adoption and quicker adoption. In the gaming industry, this is a feedback to the same tweet on FTX, is the gaming industry is valued at $173 billion and is expected to reach $314 billion by 2026. So this is absolutely insane. And the gaming narrative, or not really the narrative, more and more people are picking up gaming over time. Younger and younger kids are getting their hands on technology, and they're gaming at an earlier age too because of this. So whenever they do get immersed in these games, obviously the industry booms with the microtransactions I've also showed you, which account for tons and tons of profits for these big gaming studios every single year. And microtransactions are the purchases in game, aka right now, if you were to go on a marketplace inside of a game, it would be the same exact thing as purchasing an NFT. So it's sad, right? They're basically extracting all their players. So the whole NFT gaming narrative, this industry shift could be massive. And I think slowly but surely, NFT gaming will start eating away at the market of traditional gaming. And over time, we will see that move over. Now, I don't know about this one. We'll see. This could be a good signal or a bad signal. But Russia's largest social media network, I can't pronounce that, I'm not even going to try, announces NFT integration. Vikontakte. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but that is the spelling. So I tried my best there, but I like this one. That should balance out the war. But yeah, Russia's largest social media network announcing NFT integration. So we'll see, but it's just good. Russia's absolutely massive. So it's good to see. And if their biggest social media network is behind it, then, I guess it's a thumbs up. I guess I'll give it a thumbs up. And some news on the Vulcan Forged front. We're going to kind of chop through the news here because I want to spend some time later in the show on a specific topic that we've been heavy on the show. And I kind of want to ease some worries out there for a lot of people who could be freaking out about a certain economy. So we'll talk about that later in the show. But Vulcan Forged, they've announced a spotlight series on all the projects coming to their blockchain. So if you're looking forward to their blockchain and their nodes, but you're maybe unsure what all the games are that are on their platform, They're going to actually cover every single one of their games on their Twitter this week. And as they say here, joining Elysium, which is EVM compatible and also MetaMask compatible. So it will be compatible with your MetaMask wallet that you already use for your Ethereum, Matic chain, Binance chain, etc. Not only plants trees when you use it, so the more fees and stuff like that over time and transactions on the chain, they do plant trees, and it gives access to the entire strategic and community network. And we all know when the main net goes live that we will see those nodes come live, where you'll actually be able to stake for a validator node on the network and earn from the fees. So that'll be great to see. And on top of that, land staking is finally live. So you can actually stake your land. The first month is lava rewards of 500,000 lava. And then they will be switching to PYR, peer rewards, and to allow them to take in feedback on the initial system. So it kind of shows you here the requirements to be able to stake your land. Obviously, you need to own a land plot. There are XP requirements that you need to complete within the Vulcan Verse. But as you see here, here's kind of the sowing cost of your land. And you see the staking fees. So it kind of goes down here. But over time, you can stake for these rewards. And I think this is going to be pretty lucrative. PYR and Vulcan Forged, they do a great job of incentivizing their economy to keep getting involved, to keep playing, and they always give back, right? I do think that the land staking will definitely be lucrative for the landholders, and that land has appreciated quite a bit over time, and very successful land rollout. So up front, it was 10% of the land was immediately staked, and then it moved a day later to 44%. So 44% was all land plots. Of all the land plots are staked right now. So almost half this total supply of land in Vulcan Forge is being staked at the moment. Very bullish. And I do think the rewards there will be nice for those involved. So shout out to Vulcan Forge, continuing to build in community rewards that just bake in more and more value for the holders. Now let's get into one project, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that is really bucking the trend, right? So Ultra is still up 10% today. And it's up, I believe, 20% this week, if we go back here, against Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin's down 10%. Usually, if Bitcoin's down 10%, let's actually take a look here at some of the most down coins, right? And it's actually some gaming coins. As I always talk about, when Bitcoin goes down 10%, the gaming coins are going to get hit really hard. So we have some down 50%, 40%, 30%, the list goes on. So they usually get hit pretty hard. But when you go to the 7-day here, Ultra is actually leading the way, along with Network, D-Race, a couple projects that are still bucking the trend and up over the 7 days. But, really staggering, up 20% here against the Bitcoin trend. But I think a couple things that, I've spoken about Ultra all the time. I could be blue in the face about Ultra. The steam of crypto gaming, I think it's probably the most undervalued protocol across the entire crypto gaming space. We're not talking a studio or like a specific like studio. This is a massive utility project. I've mentioned the distribution. I've mentioned the incentives for publishers to come develop on Ultra, right? They let you come develop on Ultra at a cheaper fee than some of the mainstream guys like Apple and Google Play, all that good stuff. You can launch your game on Ultra and either make it a blockchain compatible game, or Ultra is even just like, you have a video game you just want to put on a marketplace, come over to Ultra. So they do cater to Web 2 as well. So they have their doors open to any publishers. They have top tier partnerships. I've talked about all of that in the past. But one thing I think is overlooked about this project is they have their own carbon neutral blockchain, which is already live. So let's just say you use KUCOIN, for example, and you withdraw Ultra. I know it's tradable on KUCOIN. You could actually withdraw your Ultra to the Ultra wallet on the UOS blockchain right now. So it's an active blockchain. Like you can move your Ultra to the Ultra wallet on Ultra's app on their own blockchain, which is absolutely amazing. And this is active now. I have done that to the Ultra app for a test, just to test out the app and stuff like that. The blockchain is currently active, and it's amazing, right? High performance, smart contract infrastructure, business centric NFT technology, scalable and scalable blockchain state and data history, user friendly, cross-chain teleportation, which will be good. I assume that that'll be integrated down the line as the blockchain gets a little more developed. And Oracle with real-time on-chain currency conversion rates. Obviously, I just mentioned their partnerships speak for themselves. AMD, Ubisoft, Atari, KuCoin, Theta. We have Elrond, Sandbox. There's so many projects here that they're partnered with to be bullish about, and grow your user base with zero friction. So it's very user friendly. So the transaction fees are low. The private key recovery hassle is also low. So it's not a big hassle to get. I guess I would assume that means to recover your keys, right? Whenever your keys are lost, I guess they have a process to potentially get those back. Onboarding complexity and account creation fees. And it's eco-friendly and carbon neutral, as we just mentioned. So with Ultra, one transaction is 10 times more efficient than sending an email. So this is a lot overlooked. And I think this is the one thing that is never talked about Ultra. Their blockchain's benchmarked it, like it says, 12,000 transactions per second, which I think is absolutely amazing. You could go down the line here, and all their infrastructure on their app eventually. So whenever they have so many games on the marketplace, right? Let's just say right now, and I wanted to show this, is they have their blockchain explorer live also on top of their blockchain being live. So you could check out all the blocks, everything like that. But on top of that, I kind of want to go over the amount of games and studios that they've partnered with, I think is understated. And all these games will be facilitated on an ecosystem that's running on the Ultra app, which runs through the Ultra blockchain as well. So you're talking about all these things built into one with Ultra, and all these partners that they're making are usually studios. And you can see this from the amount of games that they're partnering with, right? All these rows here of trailers, these are games that will be releasing on Ultra's platform. And some of these look super quality, right? This one's Lords of the Fallen. The graphics here look really good. This kind of reminds me of like a Gods of War type of graphical appeal. And the graphics here are super solid. Like the graphics here are definitely AAA caliber. You could tell this is a game that's already been developed, right? It's going to be coming over to Ultra's platform. So this looks really quality. The other day, I just showed this one. This was Severed Steel. I think this looks amazing. It's like a futuristic style movement-based shooter. So you can hit like slow motion, like sliding over the table, under the table moves. Looks super clean. Like this is a game right here that I would 100% play myself, right? So I think that's really important. It looks super fun, right? Despite earning capabilities, I would love to play this game, because at the end of the day, I played a lot of Call of Duty in the past, right? So if I was willing to spend my time playing Call of Duty, I'd be more than willing to play a futuristic, movement-based first-person shooter where I can actually make some money, right? That's the whole appeal. And you earn your assets, right? If I earn a gun, right, and it's mine, I can resell it as an NFT, or I can just keep it and hold its value, right? As the game goes on, maybe it's never available again, right? That's the whole point. A lot of people undervalue what NFTs could do for gaming, but really it's what can't it do for gaming? Because it can bring everything back to life. There's stuff in Fortnite, which back in the first couple of seasons, for example, if you would have had those items and you're able to resell them today, they're rare. You can never get those again. Like they will never be put back in the game, for example. But on the other end, their NFTs in the game, they're willing to sell you Odell Beckham jerseys. They're willing to sell you all these different skins of like athletes and stuff like that. And they're making money off that. You can't resell that, right? But it's the items that over time do gain rarity. If a World of Warcraft player was able to sell something they earned years ago as an NFT, it could be a lot more valuable than it would be as earning it today, right? So I think that really the capability that NFTs provide to gaming, I think people would be so blind to dispute what NFTs could bring to the table here, right? Because you could look back on so many games, I know I could at least, that I've spent time on, got so much assets, attachments, camouflages I could resell, different sorts of inventory items in different types of games, in different RPGs, stuff like that. And this one here on Ultra, Edge of Eternity, it kind of reminds me of like a Final Fantasy open world style game. The graphics look amazing. So these are the style game, we're not talking about just run-of-the-mill games that are coming to Ultra's platform, which I definitely value. So when you're looking at Ultra, I think that you need to definitely take a look at the broad scale of things. They will have AAA caliber games, but they're also making their own exclusive. And this is a tweet here. They said, I don't know what the game's going to be, but it's going to be, they think it's going to be a bowling game. And man, yeah, this got me rolling here. This got me rolling here. Bowling balls going down the hill. Ultra's exclusive sports game to die for. So I loved this. This had me absolutely dying, no pun intended. And yeah, I do think that their sports game is going to be solid. I think that their AAA first-person shooter is going to be solid. So they have 2 in-house games that they're also building, guys. So just a good laugh there, because I got a pretty good laugh out of that when I watched it. So I thought that was pretty funny. And let's get into the main topic, and I'll try to make it quick. And I talk about this game a lot, and I think as the economy does push back upwards a bit, we'll be able to talk about it more. So I won't beat it down all in one show, because I think this will be a consistent topic as we monitor this economy. But recently, Pegaxy did post that they are going to propose 4 changes to the community and team develop changes. It's community and team develop changes, which they will receive feedback on. And note, they are not final, and the numbers or proposals are subject to change. And I want to kind of go over the 4 things that they are going to be potentially proposing and changing. So they are set to release the following 4 changes. One of them being what is called the flippening. So flippening, what they are referring to here. So last week, guys, I actually just talked about this in a different economy. It was Crabata. So over 50% of the Pegaxy breeds right now, the Pegaxy breeds currently are majority dominated by the Haas breed. And it's because right now you can actually race them a lot quicker after breeding than other breeds currently. So you can get a lot more races per month out of your current Haas horses, which has been a real dominant factor. So let me see if I can actually see the breeding chart here to try to make it visual for you. Here we go. So the current breeding analysis, 45% of the current economy has been Haas, and it's because they can actually race more over the month, which actually is going to be able to have more earnings. Obviously, more races, more sample size for your win percentage to stack up. Obviously, you're going to actually earn more over time at that point. So they're actually going to flip the script. And when they say flip the script, they actually mean completely. So the Zan were actually at the bottom. So the Zan will overtake the Haas and currently now have that advantage to kind of balance things out. And these, what they are saying, are not permanent changes. They are temporary band-aids. So they're going to actually equal out. So as we see here, the Zan are, so we see the Klen and the Zan are both at 18%. But if you listen to them, the Zan are the least bred technically. So basically they're going to completely flip the script where the Zans are the top. For now, as far as the amount of race advantages that they're going to have. But this is also, at the end of the day, going to even out the breeding economy, which has been majority dominated by Haas. And I mentioned the Crabata thing, which was majority dominated by a class called the bulks, right? The bulks. So you have to take a look. The changes here will be healthy over time. And I think that whatever they're going to do, you have to listen and take it with a grain of salt, because some of this won't be final. And you can actually take a look here at the cooldown guide. So it would actually show you right now the breeding cooldown from breeding too. So that's what I was referring to. Haas have a huge edge currently in that perspective. So I think that's something to take a look at. This will definitely even the playing field across the board. And there's a lot to digest here, guys. If you go to their YouTube channel later on, you can actually check out this video here where they go over all the details. And when this will walk you through all the different cooldowns for different breeds. And as you see here, the Zans were 96-hour cooldowns, which is a big time disadvantage when you're looking at Haas's. For a Pega to be breeded again is 24 hours, to be able to race its first race on a newborn only being 24 hours. So that's the current breeding rules. So these will definitely bring a lot more stability and health to the breeding economy and the strategy, because now the least bred is going to flip to the top bred, which I think is definitely bullish long term. They go over the difference between how much currently the Haas is out earning other populations, for example, to kind of double down on their point, which I think is really strong. This will, Haas owners are going to be mad short term, but a lot of the guilds just mass. The problem here is the guilds with the big money just double down, triple down on breeding the Haas breed. So the Haases were just getting bred like crazy. So they had to put something in to deflect that, because that was only going to continue. So I think this is good when you're looking at change number 1. Let's look at change number 2, which is adult cooldowns. Now, I do think that this, I think that this is just, it's very self-explanatory. It's going to help the Vis minting by adding cooldowns. So whenever you breed, for example, you can't just take your horses and start racing them again, for example. Usually there's been cooldown times to breed again, stuff like that. And there's been a cooldown time to race a new Pega. But now they're going to introduce a longer period of time for adult cooldowns, which is actually, they do the statistics here in the middle. So the cooldown earnings, it would actually save the economy about 200 million plus Vis, which is about over what they estimate to be about 30% of the mint count. So if they could actually bring down the amount of minted Vis by 30% with some of these, I do think that this is very solid as well. So what the strategy here is, you add a cooldown to lower the races that not only one breed can do, but all breeds. Because, technically in the real world, your breeded horse isn't going to hop into a race the next day. You know what I mean? So I think it's logical to add adult cooldowns after breeding. So this will reduce the minted supply drastically. And it's not like it's unhealthy right now, guys. I think that that's the thing. It's not even really unhealthy. The burn rate right now is 88%. But we did have one day here, obviously, with the 120 million minted. I believe this was the event day where they did the Valentine's breeding event sale, for example. So it is going to even out a little bit here, but that definitely spiked this number quite a bit. 88% burned in this period. And let's also take a look at the next 2 changes, the energy variations, which they got a ton of backlash on this one. Because they thought about bringing the max races from 25 to 15 per day. And while, yes, that would probably drive the in-game token price up a little bit because it's a little more sought after, you can't race as much for it. It's harder to get your hands on it, so to speak, because the races would, you would be down 70 races, right, over the week. So that's a big time change. For example, if you're taking a look at, the grand scheme of things, if you're taking away 70 races a week over a month, that's almost 300 races in a month that you're losing out on, for example. And that's per horse. So if you have tons of horses, you're missing out on a lot of races. So they got a lot of criticism for this one, and they're thinking about actually not bringing this down to 15. So right now, the current amount of races you can do per day is 25. And they were proposing 15, but they have publicly said that they might revoke that one. So I don't think that one's something to, hang your hat on or worry about. I think that one's already been criticized and is well in place to not be put in play, because that just reduces everybody's earnings across the boards. That's just along with the fact that the token's going down, and maybe, my sentiment's fine. I think that the game I'm here for the game long term regardless. But when you look at the economy perspective for a scholar or for a player, the incentive to play definitely goes down, right? As the earnings go down in the current state of play to earn games. People are here to make money. Let's just be straight up. In play to earn gaming, people are here right now to make money. We wouldn't be playing Axie Infinity, after work for fun, right? We wouldn't. You might have a fix for gambling, but in my life before Pegaxy, I was never the type to, hop off the computer and go race horses for an hour and be like, oh, I got to go do something that's not in the digital horse world here. So stuff like that, right? I think it's just very important to keep the economy healthy. And I'm in it for the long term, as I've mentioned. So none of these short-term shakeouts are going to really put me out of the economy. And I just think it's so, the economy has to change to get the money grab aspect a little bit out of it. Because as we just saw, the breeding split is just not healthy. And the cause for that is the guilds. And the guilds really control a lot, right? Because if a guild takes 1,000 players away from a game, that's pretty impactful in the long term. 1,000 sounds like not a lot of people, but in the current state of play to earn gaming, it's definitely quite a bit of people. So a guild can rip their money from a game and rip a ton of players just like that. So I don't think, for me, I'm in it for the long term. My investment is already paid off. I'm going to continue to participate in this economy. When VIS goes down, I breed, for example. When VIS goes down, I breed, or I weigh the cost of breeding versus picking up floor horses and just accumulating more. Because at the end of the day, it's a passive staple that's working in the background, for example. And let's get to the last one where they mentioned adding additional Pega to races, which is also being very much criticized. So right now in the current state of the game, they have 12 horses per race. So 12 horses per race. Right now, they're actually bringing a proposal to put in 15 horses per race, which is another implicated suggestion here that would not help players. It would not help scholars, right? That would not incentivize people to continue, in the, like, especially like a guild, for example. That would just take a lot of their energy away. And not saying that, we need to find a way to balance out guild economy within these games to be able to control so much, right? But whenever you're adding additional Pegas to races, it doesn't help the players at all. It doesn't help the players at all. And that right there is a strategy to not lower the prizes. And I see that, right? You have to see both sides. So many people only, I think, criticize one side, but I did see what they're trying to do with that strategy. If they bump the horses within from 12 to 15, they actually don't have to bring down the prize pool, which I think publicly would be looked at as more of a thumbs down, right? I think, like, if they said, all right, guys, today's the day we're announcing that this prize per race goes down 20% or 30% per first place, second, and third, or the total earnings is cut by 30%. That would be a bad announcement to make, right? No one would like an announcement of that sort. So I do see what they were trying to do by adding it from 12 to 15, but they got criticized pretty heavily for that. So we'll see if they actually do that. I'm on the fence. I see both sides, and it would keep this circulating in less, it would keep this circulating on a wider scale, right? It would be more wider distributed, because right now it's so RNG based, it's not skill based. So in my opinion, that's how they're trying to even it out. So you have to look at what they're trying to do versus the public criticism, because they did get kind of slammed for a couple of these. But I do think a couple of them right now are actually pretty healthy to get involved with. Someone asked floor price right now. I don't know. I think the floor prices are around like $700. Yeah, someone said 700 in the chat. Yeah, floor prices for horse are about 700 now, but it's because of the VIS price. And the last thing on Pegaxy, before we get into the last part of the show here, a couple NFTs I'm bullish on, for example. But we've seen VIS take a big tanking here. Ever since the 3rd, it hit 25 cents, and we've seen it absolutely drop about 80%. About 80%. Now, you have to remember where this was. We got all the way down, guys, to 2 cents back here right after New Year's. Right after New Year's, horses were $400, guys. Horses were $400 right here. So a lot of people were just accumulating. We've seen this bounce back before like this. And I think it was a little hot. It was oversaturated. A lot of new money was coming in. I think a lot of big time people did take profits. I think that's just the nature of economics, right? Especially the whales. They're going to take profits whenever it does get presented to them. So I think it was a factor of all that. But I also think there was a built-in sell the news narrative here, Because if you take a look at the timelines, it actually kind of lines up. Let's take a look. On the 9th, they announced the breeding details. So their Valentine's breeding event, as we see here, they're rare tickets, epic tickets, and legendary tickets. So a lot of people were accumulating their VIS to try to get in on these tickets, for example. And then on the 10th, they also released the 3D game, which was pretty hyped. The 3D experience is a lot better than the 2D experience, for example. But if you look at the time scale, so the 9th and the 10th, so it was hanging around 25 cents. It corrected for a few days here. We're around 19 cents, goes down to 15 cents. We bounced back up to 18 cents, 19 cents. And on the 9th and the 10th, we're still at 18 cents. And ever since the event on the 12th, this was when the VIS breeding event was, the Valentine's breeding event. We have had a massive, massive correction here on the VIS price. And I think that a lot of people accumulated VIS for the event and maybe didn't get involved. It sold out maybe, and they didn't get their hands on a horse, for example, or a horse ticket. And I think that that's a lot of the driving factor here to what caused this, because the mint rate, the burn rate's pretty healthy right now. It's not too bad. We saw on this day specifically, there was a ton minted. And I think a lot of people didn't get involved and sold off. And maybe it was just a savvy sell the news event. But I'm in the economy for the long term. So I'm going to take all their 4 suggestions with a grain of salt. And I'm going to try to, see constructively both sides. And I think a couple of the proposed changes are solid. I think that honestly, when you're looking at them in the order that they proposed them, I think the flippening is good. It will change the breeding dynamic. It will even out a lot of things. And I think the cooldowns are good. I don't like the additional Pegas added to races. And I don't like them bringing down the energy per day, which would bring each horse's races down by 10 per day, which would not really make players that happy. So that's going to be it on Pegaxy for the night. And I kind of just wanted to dive into that because this was released over the weekend. This is fresh. So we'll see these in action very soon, potentially, once they actually do put in action the ones that will get accepted after their proposal. So we'll see what gets enforced. But I think these are something to look out for in the economy. And we'll build off this, in the future. We have plenty of time to go ahead and take a look at that. And then I want to go over, before the end of the show, last couple minutes, a couple of NFT projects coming up that I'm super bullish on and that I'm looking to get in on myself. This one here, Nanos. And their goal here is to kind of have an avatar, as it says, to rule them all. So your Nanos character is actually going to be equipable eventually in multiple different metaverses. Their alpha passes drop here in about 12 hours. And as you see here, their alpha passes will give you access to their different mints, equipment, NFTs, and stuff like that. Their team's very strong. The artwork, the artwork looks amazing. As you see, like a magician, golem, ice princess, stuff like that. And their team here, as you see, fully doxed. And you can see the stuff that they've worked on in the past. Some of it is AAA, and some of it is indie. And I think you need a good mix of that to make a good project work. And this one looks very solid. I'm looking to get involved on that. Another one this one's already existing, but is coming out with a Gen 2 drop. And this isn't really metaverse gaming, but this is NFTs, right? And we're talking about high value NFTs. The Gen 1, so the Genesis collection for Project Gudjira is 19.8 Ethereum floor. 19.8 Ethereum floor. And they're about to have their Genesis 2, so their Gen 2 launch very soon. I think it's at the end of the month, about a week from now. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for this one because this is the first supply, as we see here, was 333 items. So 333 items, and the Gen 2 will be dropped with a max supply of 3,333. So they are going to release a little higher supply, and the main utility behind the project is, low supply, but network is crazy. And I see someone in the comments, Shan from Gudjira is building something amazing. Yeah, he's super sharp. I love what they're doing, and their Gen 1 completely popped off. So I'm looking to get involved on that Genesis 2. And let's take a look at one that's already existing. They don't have a mint coming up, but Rebel Bots is one I'm super bullish on. And as they claim, the ultimate play to earn game. And I love The artwork, the Rebel bots look amazing, as you will pull them up here on OpenSea. I love what the Rebel bots are doing. There's so much different personality, I feel like, in so many of these. So Rebel bots right now is sitting at about a 0.27 floor. And as we see here, backed by Ubisoft and Overwolf, they're on a mission to build the #1 play to earn game where you build, battle, and earn. So here's the adventure mode where you battle aliens and complete daily challenges. Multiplayer mode where you're competing in PvP battles. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, guys, is we actually have 2 Rebel bots to potentially give away here on the show. But I need to set a light goal. So 24 hours from now, I need to be able to hop on the show and see that we have 2.5 thousand likes. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. I know the live viewer count right now is not that high, but we will have plenty of views over the next 24 hours. 2.5K likes. We will give away 2 Rebel bots on Tuesday's show. If not, we'll have to set a different goal later in the week and see if we could smash that goal. But smash the like button, 2.5K likes, and we'll give away 2 Rebel bots here on the show. And I just love the artwork. I love the utility behind it, the game. And as we see here, you take a look at their backing. Very elite. I love projects that are getting that backing behind Ubisoft. They have Overwolf behind them. As you see here, Polygon Studios, Metaverse Capital, LD Capital. So very, very solid backing. And I love this project. So smash the like button if you want potentially a Rebel bot NFT. We'll give it away this week at some point, but we'll do it tomorrow if we can hit 2.5 thousand likes. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. A little longer show than usual, but I think the information, it was needed, right? We have a bunch of changes in an economy that we're very, very involved in. So definitely it was something we had to take a look at. What about the last giveaway? So we did give away all the whitelists on my Twitter to Clementine's Nightmare, which was an immediate 3x or 3 to 4x right now. So shout out to all the winners on that. We did give away all of those spots. And we did give away the NFTs on, I believe it was Angry Ape Army. So we'll look forward to giving these away. And we gave away all the cyber trade tokens for Seedify Mystery Box. So we're all caught up on that. And we'll have more Seedify mystery boxes going forward as well. But smash the like button for more crypto gaming content, for more NFT and Metaverse content, and subscribe to the channel for daily shows here from all across the board. Me, Sheldon, Ran, Miles. You have the charting, you have the fundamentals, you have the DeFi, you have the gaming. So hit the subscribe button. I'll be back for Tuesday's show, guys. Till then, play well, my friends. Boom. Boom.